Welcome to another edition of Space Haven 3.0, brought to you by Commando Gaming and Battletech Battles. We're also streaming on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv, Commando Gaming 1. Please check us out there if you'd like to enjoy, if you would enjoy us streaming live and interacting with us while we play. So, shout out to everybody who's watching us live. In our last video, we had completed the building of 2 power generators. However, as what happens sometimes with this game, it crashed before I could save it. So we're going to finish building that second generator. Or actually our third generator. I want to say hi to anybody who's joining us on the stream. Please feel free to post any questions that you have about this game. It's an early access game, so we're really enjoying it quite a bit. One of the reasons we're starting it, our third series on the game, is they keep updating it since it is an early access game, and when they make a material change to the game, we really try to go back and deal with the fact that we've got some material changes to the game. So, for example, most recently, they increased the chance that you will find additional crew members. So, we went back and started a fresh replay, and automatically we got an additional crew member. So that was a big improvement in gameplay right there. So hopefully we can finish building this second generator, or third generator, and that will allow us to have our energy issues completely under control. So let's actually make sure this is a high construction priority. Not sure why it wouldn't be. All right, we're also expanding our hull. Alright, come on guys, finish that generator. Sometimes the non-player character AI is a little frustrating. We've made it a priority. It should be finishing that generator. There we go. Alright, so now we should have our power issues completely under control. We'll create a link between the generators. Alright, and as you can see, our power is way above what we're consuming, which is great news. Now, one of the things we definitely want to do with power, one of the biggest things we could build, and we can actually build a couple of these, build 4 backup batteries. And what those do is they will charge up whenever we have an excess amount of energy. Those will charge up and give us an emergency supply of power. So those are really beneficial to have. So I'll have to link these in sequence. There we go. So now those batteries will actually charge up and we'll have a significant reserve of power. Alright, so another thing we can do is we can... Don't want to relocate that generator yet. So, looks like we're done salvaging this derelict, which we did on the previous video. If you're watching this on our stream, please feel free to post any questions that you have about this game. I want to make this an interactive process. So, if you have any questions about this game, any suggestions, if you played the game, we'd love to have you interactive in that chat room today. Right, where are... Oh, looks like we still might have some salvage to do on the ship, on the derelict. I'm not sure what that shuttle's doing. Let's see what that shuttle does. Okay, yeah, there's still some salvage to do on that derelict ship. Sometimes the salvage status is a little unclear in the game. Right. One thing we can also do we're going to dismantle that planter, and we're going to build a larger planter. Get more bang for our buck with those resources as we're able to expand our ship. All right, let's look at some resource builds that we can put together at this point. So we can actually build a metal refinery. I think that's a good thing to build next. Put in sequence right next to our generator. And we can also build... Do we have the resources? Yes. So let's also build a assembler. These are key components for our manufacturing. So we'll put those together. 1 second. Sorry about the dog barking. All right, so we're building those two key components. Let's see, let's make sure we're recycling infrascrap to make those components. All right, we're still doing salvage on the ship here, so let's watch that carefully. You don't have to micromanage the salvage. You can actually just watch when the shuttle returns and parks permanently, then you know that your salvage is done. So our crew is working on a number of builds right now. We're building an additional bed here. Actually, we can not dismantle that bed. It's not in the way. That'll help us further increase production. One thing you find with this game is that food actually becomes one of your best resources for trading. So I really emphasize the fact that you should try to maximize your greenhouse building as much as possible. Okay, another thing we could do is we could build a second shuttle hangar here. is, I can build here. Why is it saying I can't? Right, so we'll build it there. So a second shuttle hangar is very critical once you get to the point that you're able to do significant trades. So I can't emphasize enough the value of trying to build a second shuttle as early as possible. It also increases the speed of your salvage of the enemy derelicts. So definitely recommend that. Alright, so we're just going through the process of finishing our salvaging. See the shuttle parked now, so I'm pretty sure we're done with salvaging that ship. So now we simply have a situation where we can just focus on building, and then we'll travel to the next location. Thank you for joining us on the Twitch stream. If you have any questions about this game, any suggestions, any opinions, let me know. I'm still learning this game, but I think I've learned a significant amount about best practices for how to be successful. But it's an early access game, and they're constantly changing it. I'm going to go ahead and build a couple more batteries. Make sure we have plenty of battery power, because we have significant generators right now. We have 2 large generators and the original small generator. So let's make sure we're putting a lot of battery energy power into storage. As you can see, we're generating a lot of excess energy right now. So let's not let that go to waste. All right, we're also have built our metal refinery. So we're going to have it continuously producing steel plates. Except it doesn't have... Right, so we also have the assembler, but we need to extend our power to that sector of the ship. That's an easy fix. Let's make that a high construction priority. So we're setting up these batteries in sequence, so they'll basically charge each other. That's a very sizable battery reserve. Very good to have that early on in the game. Okay. All right, now our assembler has power, so let's put it to work. Building hull blocks for now. All right, so we built our second shuttle bay, so let's build our second shuttle. Oh, we also have this new plant bed available, so let's make sure we're planting. All right. So we should be definitely a net positive when it comes to food right now. Okay. So, what do we want to do here? We can expand, we can't expand our hull right now. We could... Let's see. All right, building a chemical refinery would be a good idea right now. Can we fit it in? That's the question. Looks like we can do it here. So let's just build that real quick before we travel. We need infra blocks to finish that. All right, so what we can do here is we can just do a jump. So let's prepare for a hyper jump to our next destination. This will be our second hyper jump because we're very early on in the game. All right, all crew members are accounted for. All vehicles are accounted for. Let's jump. All right. So we can jump here. And we'll go ahead and we're just going to do a quick stop here so we can pick up these minerals. Won't take very long at all. But every resource you can get is so critical in this game that really there's really no hurry as long as you're not running out of resources. So I always recommend that you try to gather as much resources as possible. And in the meantime, there's other things our crew can work on. As long as we have sufficient water and power, there's no real reason for us to feel like we're rushed to the point where we're going to pass useful resources. As you can see, our batteries are almost up to capacity. We have not encountered any trade partners yet. All right, let's see what's going on with our recycler here. We don't have enough infra scrap to keep building. Okay, so we can actually build. All right, let's process this tech scrap. That would be very useful right now. Okay, so we need to all right, so our gas scrubber is not reachable right now. So that's a problem we don't want to ignore. So we can build an additional gas scrubber right there. Let's make that a priority. All right, so our mining is completed. So let's immediately just travel to our next location. See, that only took us about a couple, like 2 minutes of game time, and we got a fair amount of materials. All right, so let's jump here. Now we don't have to stop at this planet. We can actually keep traveling to this planet here. All right, we're kind of in tough spot here because we kind of need resources. So I don't want to pass by these materials, but we're going to get a lot more if we go to this derelict here. We can always go back and do a quick jump to go get that material. But we really need construction materials right now. All right. So as you can see, we've got two ships here. So there's a ship here that's a derelict, which we can salvage from. There's a ship here. This is actually a recoverable ship. So that gives you the option to actually recover the ship if you want, or you can declare it a derelict and just harvest the resources. Right now we don't have the personnel for two ships, so we're actually just going to probably salvage that ship. All right, so as you can see, our red team, which is what we use for boarding parties, is currently resting. So we're going to let them finish their rest for the day. You don't want to send a boarding party across to a derelict while they're tired. It has a significant impact on their ability to capture a facility. All right, so now that our red team is done, let's actually draft them. We're going to have them go to the shuttle, put on their spacesuits. All right, everybody's in their spacesuits. You have to make sure to tell them to get in their spacesuits, or you're going to get a nasty surprise when they get to the enemy or the derelict ship, and they're going to get out and they're not going to be wearing spacesuits. I think one thing that would be nice for them to change is for the AI to automatically get into their spacesuits if you tell them to get into a ship. All right, so here we are. We're at this recoverable ship. That still means aliens can be here. And in fact, there you go. As soon as we got off the ship, we encountered an alien, another alien. Nasty aliens. All right, so let's clear out the back of the ship here. Oh, two more aliens. All right, they're actually attacking us here. All right, we didn't have any significant injuries there. All right, let's go ahead and get some oxygen before we go to the rest of the ship. If you're running low on oxygen, it does impact how well your crew fights the aliens. So recharge your oxygen often. Oh, another alien. Get him. Okay. Lots of aliens on this ship. I'm really hoping we'll find some additional crew members. No, nothing yet. No additional crew members yet. I probably just got very lucky on that first derelict that we found crew members. All right, let's finish up this ship quickly. If you have any questions about this game, please put them in the chat room. Would love to answer any questions you have. Even if you just want to reach out and say, hey, how's it going? That would help us out a lot. We're trying to increase our interaction in the chat rooms to get some extra features for our stream viewers. So if you could just say hello in the chat room, that would help us out a lot. We'd really appreciate it. All right, so now that we've captured this, you'll notice this ship, it doesn't automatically tell you that it's available for salvage. So what you have to do is you have to back out, you have to select the ship, and then you have to decide to claim it or abandon it, which then makes it a derelict. So we're going to abandon. So that will make this ship a derelict. So if we just let time process for a second, we'll now have the ability to transfer items. Not a lot of items to transfer. not a lot of salvage here on this ship. So we'll just leave it as medium priority. All right, so let's undraft everybody. Let our crewmates do. We're going to let them do the salvage on this one ship before we cross over to the other derelict. Oh, we got an incoming ship. Android Collective, which is kind of like the Borg in this game, but they're not malicious. As long as you don't attack them, you're going to be fine. And in most cases, at least in this early access game, one thing, whoa, okay, why are you guys not getting oxygen? All right, this is a classic example of why the AI can drive you bonkers. All right, get oxygen. I've unslaved you. You should be getting oxygen. All right, everybody get oxygen. All right, that was a close call there. So let's undraft again. Right. I think they were literally on a break, and that's why they didn't get oxygen. Apparently they wanted to suffocate on their break. I don't know. All right, everybody's going back to the ship. So we're going to let everybody rest. You don't want to do multiple boardings in one day. It's not good for your crew's morale, especially if they have to fight aliens in most of the enemy ships. So it's good to take your time, let your crew do some things other than fighting aliens, let them get a good night's sleep, and then we'll go back and check out that second derelict. How are we doing on power? We got plenty of power at the moment. One good way to keep an eye on your power is to simply keep an eye on your batteries. As long as they're green, you're good. All right, so this is our trading partner that just came in. So we want to trade for things that we find valuable and for things that they don't care about. So for example, fertilizer is a very valuable resource for us. So let's do a quick trade here. So we'll trade 10 fertilizers. What are they willing to pay a lot for? I don't mind selling some fiber. You know, I'll sell them a hyperfuel because we actually get some credits as well. And we've got a fair amount of hyperfuel, so that's one good trade. We could definitely use some infra blocks. That's holding up some of our construction. So let's buy 10 of those. I'll do another hyperfuel. Okay. Let's do another new trade. Same thing. We've got enough hyperfuel. I'm not too worried about that. And we'll trade them in orange. And we'll trade them some root vegetables. There we go. So those are 3 very good trades. I'm happy with those trades. So let's let those trades process before we go to the second derelict. hyperfuel is low. So we need to build a refinery for hyperfuel. Okay, we can do that. Will it fit in this corner is the question. Yeah, we're going to have access problems. So not the best place to put the refinery, but we'll put the refinery right there in our command center. We can always move it later, but it's important that we start building some fuel now. So let's make that a high energy priority. All right, our alpha team is resting right now, our red team. So that actually gives us the ability to, after they're done resting, we can go to that second derelict. Okay, we're almost done with our trades. I'd like to finish the construction of that refinery before we go board that other ship. Well, we got a fire. We got a fire. Fortunately, they get put out pretty quickly. Alright, so that tells us a... Okay, so it's a little warm in there. It'll fix itself over time. Alright, so this construction was made a high priority construction. So let's finish our construction, please. I know you guys are working on logistics, but alright, we don't actually need the hyperfuel at the moment. So let's actually draft our boarding party. Have them get into the ship. Let's see if we can quickly capture that last derelict. Alright, so this derelict here does not have a air duct, so that makes it a little challenging here. So whenever a ship doesn't have an air dock, your crew basically has to land on a ledge on the ship, and then they can actually jet across. It's a little more risky because they don't have a constant source of oxygen as they do with an air dock. So you have to keep a shuttle there. Alright. Not seeing any enemy activity, any alien activity. Be nice if this ship did not have aliens. data log. Alright, I'm not seeing any aliens yet. This is a huge ship, so this is going to be a lot of salvage. The danger is that we don't have an airlock. So that makes it much harder for us to salvage this ship. Good news is I'm not seeing anything in the way of aliens. Right, there's the command center of the ship. One more area. We're running out of oxygen. Welcome to everybody who's watching the stream. Please feel free to say hello in the chat room. We're trying to get some additional benefits to our followers and subscribers. So some interaction in the chat room would be deeply appreciated, even if you just want to tell us how you're doing today. All right, so this ship is the Lucky 13. I don't know how lucky they are because they're a derelict ship now, but so we got to watch the salvage very carefully here because there's no airlock. So you have to be extra cautious that your crew isn't going to suffocate itself. But there's some really nice salvage here, so we almost have to deal with this the best we can. So one way we can deal with that is we can actually build an airlock on the ship. But it's probably not necessary here. So we're just going to have to slowly do the salvage on this ship, keeping a close eye on our crew because they will have a tendency to not get oxygen when they need to get oxygen. See what we got here? So they're... Let's draft everybody. Oh, actually, they did get oxygen. I'll take that back. So let's undraft everybody. It looked to me like they didn't get oxygen there, but I was mistaken. So when you're dealing with a ship that doesn't have an airlock, you're going to have to pay more attention to your crew to make sure that they're getting oxygen at regular intervals and not putting themselves in a bad spot. See, oxygen levels. Like, dude, you guys have the ability to get oxygen right here. Get oxygen. Back. Get oxygen. So that's one thing I would like to see improved in the game is the AI does a poor job unless there's an airlock of making sure they get oxygen. Right, Mickey. Get oxygen. Everybody take oxygen. See that? They're very close to having oxygen problems. So, you know what? We might just have to suck it up and build an airlock, because I can't trust them to do it themselves. Yeah, that's right. There's no power, so that won't work. If there was an engine, we could make it work, but we can't. All right, why are you guys on break? Your crew will take their breaks at the weirdest times. We're floating in space with no oxygen. Let's take a break. All right, you guys, get oxygen. I really get frustrated that I constantly have to micromanage my crew getting oxygen. It's becoming counterintuitive. Alright. Can you guys... Oh, we completed our second ship. Our second shuttle. That's great. So now we have 2 shuttles available. Okay, so that's a good thing. We got 2 shuttles available. Right, so this one shuttle has got to stay here. So we can give oxygen to the people that are working. It's pretty important. Get oxygen, Arabella. Get oxygen. What part of get oxygen do you not understand? You know what? Board ship. Arabella is literally about to die. Because she's not getting oxygen. Sometimes the AI is better at this than other times. It's a little frustrating. Right, now she has oxygen. So we're gonna have to watch the oxygen levels very carefully. Alright, so we're gonna have to watch that very carefully. That's one of the problems with salvaging a ship that doesn't have an airlock. is you're constantly going to have to micromanage your ships. Unreachable task. Oh, because there's a light here. So let's move this light. There, that should fix that problem eventually. Make sure our recycler is working efficiently. Let's see, we can definitely have our recycler working on whole scrap right now. Alright, so we're out of ice for the production of water, but we got plenty of water available, so that's not a concern. Alright, ship entered sector. Okay, we got a trading partner here. All right, so we constantly want to be looking for things that we want that can be bought at a very good trade value. So for example, this is a pretty good price for hyperfuel, so we'll do that. We can also use some infra blocks. Never have too many infra blocks, so let's buy 10 of those. And we can't sell food. That's one downside, is we can't use food to sell to the androids because they don't need food, obviously, and that's our biggest trade resource. So we'll trade them some hyperfuel. Alright, so we prioritized this construction for the refinery, and they're not prioritizing this. So we're going to make select a worker. Alright, Annabella, build that refinery. Sometimes you have to manually tell people what to do. So we need hyperfuel. Ooh, we're almost out of energy rods too. This is a bit of a problem. All right, that is a significant problem, that we're really low on energy rods. We're going to have to tackle that in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed the stream. We just did a quick stream today. We'll be back with another stream of this game shortly. So if you enjoy this game, please go ahead and hit follow, and the next time that we do a stream or a video on this game, you'll be notified. Talk to you soon.